Prince William and Catherine are going to leave Buckingham Palace forever, the place that has been the beating heart of royal power for over 250 years. Think about that for a second. Buckingham Palace isn't just a home, it's the symbol of the monarchy. Coronations, world leaders, balcony moments, royal births. Everything flows through those gates. And now, the future king and queen are walking away from it. Not for a palace, not for a vast estate, but for a much smaller, quieter home that most people didn't even know existed. Kensington Palace confirmed it. The Wales family wants out. And the moment the news broke, royal insiders said the same thing: this is not normal. And that's exactly why people are talking. Because when the next king and queen decide Buckingham Palace is no longer the place they want to live, raise their kids, or build their future, something inside the monarchy has shifted. Big time. This isn't downsizing. This is distancing. A future monarch choosing a private, grounded, almost modest home over the largest royal residence in the country says more than any speech ever could. It hints at tension, strategy, healing, and a complete rethinking of what royal life is supposed to look like. Stay with me until the very end, because once you see why they're trading centuries of royal tradition for a quieter home in Windsor, the entire move makes a lot more sense, and reveals something very new about William and Catherine's future reign. Buckingham Palace may be famous, but behind the glamour, it's widely known inside royal circles as one of the least practical places to raise a young family. It's enormous, heavily staffed, constantly under renovation, and surrounded by non-stop crowds. William grew up watching what life inside that building did to his mother: the pressure, the lack of privacy, the isolation hidden behind the gold railings. So his choice to walk away from it isn't just symbolic, it's personal. He wants his children growing up with space, normality, and freedom, not in a 775-room museum permanently surrounded by tourists and cameras. And here's what most people don't realize: Buckingham Palace isn't even designed for modern living. It has outdated private quarters, stiff formal layouts, and security limitations that make everyday family routines complicated. William and Catherine don't want to raise George, Charlotte, and Louis in a place where every window faces a crowd, every hallway echoes with staff, and stepping outside means facing lenses. By choosing a smaller, quieter residence, they are quietly rejecting the old royal lifestyle, not out of rebellion, but because the palace simply doesn't fit the family-focused monarchy they plan to lead. This is the first real glimpse of how differently William intends to reign. After months of whispers, headlines, and drone-shot speculation, Kensington Palace finally ended the guessing game, and they did it with a statement that left no room for interpretation. The Prince and Princess of Wales are moving. Not discussing it, not considering it, moving. The announcement made it clear that the decision has already been made and the relocation is locked into the royal calendar for later this year. And within hours of that statement, the real surprise dropped: the name of their new residence. Forest Lodge, a secluded Georgian house buried deep inside Windsor Great Park, far away from London's noise and far from the formality of palace life. This wasn't a casual update from the palace press office. This was a carefully timed confirmation, signaling that the Wales family isn't just shifting houses, they are setting down roots. A move this decisive only happens when a long-term plan is already in motion, and this one will shape the future Prince and Princess of Wales era from the ground up. Forest Lodge isn't grand, it isn't flashy, and it definitely isn't the kind of place people imagine for a future king, and that's exactly why William and Catherine chose it. Hidden inside Windsor Great Park, the house sits at the end of a long, tree-lined drive where you can't hear traffic, crowds, or anything except the wind in the branches. It has the kind of privacy no London palace could ever offer. Children can run in the garden without bodyguards hovering beside every hedge, and Catherine can walk outside without a telephoto lens tracking her steps. For a family who has lived under constant scrutiny for years, Forest Lodge offers something priceless: silence. But the house itself is what sealed the decision. The rooms are warm and filled with natural light, not the cold, echoing spaces of royal estates. There's an old library William reportedly loved immediately, a sprawling garden Kate can finally put her mark on, and enough bedrooms for their 3 children to have space as they grow. The architecture has that classic Georgian charm: symmetrical, calm, beautifully balanced, the kind of home that feels lived in, not staged for state events. Royal insiders say the moment William and Catherine walked through the doors, they saw a future that felt real, not royal. A place where they could raise their children with something the monarchy rarely offers: a normal childhood wrapped in privacy, not pageantry. 3 pressure points push this decision over the line. The first is the children. George, Charlotte, and Louis are already rooted in Windsor: schools, friends, routines. Moving them back into the Goldfish Bowl of London would blow up the stable childhood William has always said he wanted them to have. Forest Lodge lets them grow up with bikes, dogs, and fields instead of security gates and lenses. The second is protection. After the Queen's death, the King's health worries, and Catherine's own health battle, the family has been through years of strain under full public glare. A big, secure, tree-lined home that the public can't walk past is not a luxury, it's survival. And the third reason is simple: they're done camping in houses that were never meant to be permanent. Adelaide Cottage was charming, but cramped for a future king's family and staff. Forest Lodge gives them space, permanence, and the chance to finally stop living in transition. Forest Lodge doesn't just give William and Catherine a quieter home, it quietly shifts the entire geography of royal power. King Charles and Queen Camilla remain firmly rooted in London, operating from the traditional triangle of Buckingham Palace, Clarence House, and Westminster. But the next generation? They are building their base outside the capital. For the first time in modern royal history, the future monarch's daily life won't orbit around Buckingham Palace. Instead, it will orbit around Windsor, calmer, more controlled, and completely reshaping where the real decisions of the next era might be made. And here's the part insiders keep pointing to. When William becomes king, yes, Buckingham Palace will still be the stage for state visits, ceremonies, and the big moments. But the day-to-day thinking, the strategy, the family discussions, the private meetings, could all be happening behind the closed gates of Forest Lodge. Windsor becomes the heartbeat, while London becomes the backdrop. It's a quiet shift, but a historic one. If Charles' reign is centered on tradition, William's might be centered on independence, and this move makes that divide crystal clear. For many people watching this move, the connection is impossible to ignore. Princess Diana. She fought hard to give William and Harry glimpses of ordinary life, Saturday treats, school drop-offs, days without protocol or titles. She didn't want her sons raised in a bubble where every moment was choreographed. And now, all these years later, William is making choices that echo her instincts. Forest Lodge isn't about prestige, it's about giving his children the everyday freedoms Diana tried to protect, the chance to run outside without cameras, to argue over toys without staff in the next room, to feel like kids, not tiny public figures. And beneath all of this sits something even more personal. William grew up between houses, headlines, and heartbreak. Nothing stayed still, not his parents' marriage, not the press attention, not the emotional stability every child needs. Choosing a long-term home isn't just practical for him, it's healing. Forest Lodge gives him what he missed: consistency, privacy, and a family base untouched by royal politics. He's not just choosing a house. He's choosing the kind of childhood his mother wanted for him, and the kind he intends to secure for his own children. That's why this move hits people so strongly. It feels less like a royal decision and more like a son finishing what Diana started. When you step back and look at everything together, Forest Lodge stops being just another royal house and becomes a blueprint. It shows exactly how William and Catherine plan to shape the monarchy they'll one day lead: quieter homes, tighter circles, fewer palaces, more real life. The royal spotlight may stay fixed on Buckingham Palace for tradition's sake, but the decisions that define the next era, the parenting, the priorities, the values, are being built in a private home no one will ever tour. That's the shift. The monarchy isn't shrinking, it's recalibrating. Now here's where you come in. Does this move feel like the right direction for a modern royal family, choosing a normal home over royal grandeur? Or does walking away from Buckingham Palace feel like breaking too far from history? I genuinely want to hear your take. Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this decision has split royal watchers right down the middle. And before you go, don't forget to like this video, share it with fellow royal fans, and subscribe to the channel. We're bringing you more royal deep dives, inside analysis, and stories the palace never explains. This forever home is only the beginning of the Wales era, and you'll want to be here as it unfolds. Tour. That's the shift. The monarchy isn't shrinking, it's recalibrating.